And we are live. Steve Daughter here along with April Woodcock. How are you doing, April?
I'm good. Happy Friday, friends.
Happy Friday indeed. It is time for session 2 of the BYOB, the Building Your Online Business Bootcamp. You know, we should really, with the BYOB name, we should schedule our sessions for like 6 in the evening, 5 in the afternoon. And then people could really BYOB. They could we could all have a glass of wine and it would be so civilized. What do you think?
I'm totally down.
I somehow or other I didn't think you'd have an issue with it. Well, I hope everybody is set in. Today's session it's one that I get really excited about because today, so many of you who are, especially who are new to us, are intrigued by the concept of an online business, but you're really struggling trying to figure out exactly what it is you should be or can be doing. And it's an uncomfortable place to be because you see all this potential and you're worried that you're missing the boat. You're worried that you're going to miss out on something or that there's something that you haven't figured out yet. So today we start dealing with that head on. Which is starting the right business, where we take a look, and it's really introspective. It's really kind of taking a stock and an inventory of the assets that we have, the experience we have, the opportunities that are out there, and trying to find a place that those coalesce and come together for us. So, I tend to find, what this is the 6th time we've done this now. I don't know if we did this module in the first time we did the boot camp though, April, but this was do you get as excited about this one? Do you love the chat that goes on in this one as people kind of get their discoveries and start to the penny starts to drop?
Yeah, I love it. And yesterday I posted something in the Facebook group about change, and it was interesting to hear people's feelings on change, especially as we get more experience with our age. Like sometimes change is not easy. So it was interesting to hear their comments and learn about people's perspective and thought on that.
I think we are getting, for those in this community, I think we are training ourselves to deal with change far better than we probably did earlier in our life. I said in the webinars, our parents' generation, they knew, or they thought they knew everything they had to learn in their life by the time they were 40. They thought they had it locked and loaded at that particular point. And there wasn't this concept of lifelong learning. And there certainly wasn't, lifelong learning has a kind of it gives you the impression that you choose to constantly be engaged and constantly learn and constantly be curious, which is fantastic if that happens to be in your nature. But the change on us, the force of lifelong learning now is we have to learn. We have to learn these new skills in order to keep up. It's like when we're kids, it was such a pain in the ass learning to tie our shoes. Well, we have to keep doing that now, except it's all the online stuff. We got to learn to tie our shoes online all the time. And all of us don't have it sometimes takes a little bit of time, and it doesn't necessarily come naturally to us. Kids today, they don't even learn to tie shoes, do they? It's all Velcro now, isn't it? I think.
It's funny you say that. Yeah, I mean, it was Velcro with my kids, but I made sure they learned how to tie their shoes. Yeah.
It's a complete non sequitur. I apologize to you one and all. But I think what we are going to do is dive right into it. For those of you that have not yet visited or spent any time inside of Thinkific, inside of the module, the replay for this will be there, as well as this is the first time that there are resources there that you are going to want to visit. We have a tutorial in there on creating your first mind map and your own mind map, which is kind of a companion for today's session. And today's session is one of the only ones where I actually have kind of homework, an assignment for you to do afterwards, or we want you to embark in a project. But the document that you start on today will be a document that you will work with through the entire run of the boot camp. So that's the plan for today. So let's jump in to starting the right business. Starting the right business. Today's lesson is one of my absolute favorites in the entire tutorial, in the entire bootcamp. That's because for a lot of the lesson that entrenches exactly what it is you're going to do for your business. This is all about imagination and projection and passion and skill and experience. And it's just a great exercise that we're about to go through. So by the end of today's session, I'm hoping for most of you, we have an answer. Now, for a lot of you, we won't, but the best case scenario, we need an answer. Do you really know what it is you want to do? Do you know what your online business looks like? Do you know what your product is? Do you know how you're going to build your online business or what you're going to be delivering at the end? Now, the best result is, this is what I want to do. I know what I want to do, which is great. Second best result is, I don't want to do this. After you look at the opportunity in the online business, decide this is not for me. I need to go another route. That's the second best result. The expected result right now is, I'm not sure. I'm lost, Steve. I used to do this, but I don't know how I do that now. And I don't know what I'm going to be good at or what I want to do or even what I can do. And that's the expected result for most of us. What we're going to do now is we're going to go through a bit of a process where we take a little look at ourselves, we take a look at the opportunities out there, and we try and find some common ground for something that we maybe could be good at or we would want to be good at. So let's start. Now, this is looking overall at online business. Let's start with a reality check. How well equipped are you to become an entrepreneur if you haven't been an entrepreneur years before? How well equipped are you to do this on your own? We'll start by talking about the character that you have. And know that none of these are deal killers. It's just that knowing and having a good, honest conversation with ourselves, knowing what our strengths and our challenges are, will help us to determine what the best path to follow, what the best route is, what additional pieces we have to put in place in order to be successful. So are you introverted or extroverted? If you're introverted and you have trouble getting in front of people, we're going to have to come up with a strategy for your content to get out there without you being front and center. But if you're extroverted, if you're comfortable with that, yeah, with it, then you can be the face of your content or the face of your platform. Where do you stand as far as that goes? And as you plan and put the different pieces in place, recognize where you sit. I think this is a big deal. How well do you deal with failure? And are you really hard on yourself? That's going to determine just how quickly, the pace of business that you do business at. There's one school of business, which is in the modern age, which is fail fast and move forward. It is just keep failing forward and just make a mistake, have an issue, put it out there, do the best you can. Don't try and fail by all means, but put it out there without any worries. And then just look at it and go, that didn't work. I'm going to try this. Or are you like my old business partner who used to say every little failure was like feathers off a duck's back? It's just like he would take it so seriously and it was the end of the world anytime anything happened. If that's the case, you're going to have to move at a more pedestrian pace as you put things forward because it will affect your sense of well-being and your confidence, and you'll make bad decisions often because you're afraid of making a mistake. What's your capacity for dealing with failure? Be honest with yourself. Are you the sort of person that can market yourself? Can you sell? A lot of us are not salespeople naturally. A lot of us have trouble asking for the sale. Bob, who works as part of my team, he's a master salesman. He loves the sales process. He teaches people how to be salespeople. But all people are not salespeople. Some of us have a lot of trouble asking for the sale. And if that's the case, then you have to build a business where you don't have to be the salesperson, where something else acts as the sales agent for you. Whether it's your content or your sales page or what have you, you have to build a system that will allow you to not go through that terror for many of us, which is actually doing the sales ourselves. Can you lead a team? How are you as far as leading a team actually opens a can of worms, which is a pretty big can of worms. Can you delegate? Do you have the ability to delegate? That's going to determine, again, how quickly you can move ahead and how you build out your team, and whether or not you end up hiring subcontractors or do it all yourself, if it's a DIY project or if it's something that you can lead. And it also will impact whether or not you can hire people or hire talent to backfill your weaknesses or the things that are not profitable that you have to spend time on, the time-wasting parts of business. Are you able to delegate to a team and lead the team? The next question I'm going to ask you is one that I think for us is really relevant. Do you have the support of your family and friends? Those of us who are boomers and Gen Xers in thinking about starting an online business or running an online business, we'll often be looked at askance by our family and friends because if this is new to us, if we've not spent our life in high tech and always been the person that's on the leading edge, they're going to wonder if we know what the hell we're doing. We don't need them wondering what the hell we're doing. We're wondering what the hell we're doing at times ourselves. But if they don't believe in what you're going to do, if they don't have trust in you, and if they're going to be critical of you, and if that's going to be an issue, then you're not in a safe place building the business. If somebody's looking at you and judging you the whole time, so recognize that the environment you're in, the family and friends that are around you, will have a big impact on how you feel about the business, and how, for those of us that when you do have setbacks, how well you're able to deal with those setbacks and how well you're able to move on. Last thing you need is somebody sitting there saying, I knew that was going to screw up all along, and just dealing with that kind of crap. So what's your situation? And can you prime those that are important to you to support you as you go through this? Because this is, for a lot of you, this is going to be a very different venture than what you've experienced before. The next question I want to ask you is, do you want to do this or do you have to do this? Some of us are in a financial position where we need more security and we don't see that security happening in the job market. So we are feeling a little bit trapped and a little bit forced to go down the entrepreneurial path. That's a scary place. But where are you in it? The more that you know, and the more that you recognize the external forces that are causing you, the reason that you're on this journey, the better you're going to be able to deal with the decision-making process as you go along, recognizing why you make decisions and how you make decisions. So is this something you want to do, or is this something you have to do? And then what's your capacity to deal with the big three? Technology. Whether you like it or not, building an online business means you're going to have at least some interaction with technology. And is that going to be getting in the way? Is it going to be something you're afraid of? Is it going to be something that holds you back or frustrates you or intimidates you? Second question is, how well do you deal with uncertainty? The one byproduct of the fail fast or fail forward and move fast philosophy is there's a lot of uncertainty. You don't know when you're going to be successful. You don't know when the bills are going to be paid, and you don't know when you're going to feel secure and you're going to feel that you've got this figured out. There's a fair amount of uncertainty that we all experience when we start our own business. What's your capacity to deal with that? I think our family's a big support mechanism to help us deal with that. But what's your capacity to deal with that? And lastly, how well do you deal with change? It's not a hallmark of our generations to be great with change. It's difficult. And the older we get, I think the more difficult it gets. But the very nature of this business, of online business, means we have to deal constantly with change. Everything changes all around us all the time. And we have to be able to respond to that. And we can't be led on kind of goose chases by chasing every change and by following every siren song of every new technology or every new philosophy that comes along. But at the same time, we can't be so bound to the traditional ways that we do things, or the first way that we do things, or the way that we understand how to do things, that we don't recognize where change is going to be beneficial for us. This session of the bootcamp is a object lesson in that. The fact that we've had to deal with so much change as we start to incorporate all of the AI tools into our process, not just as a business ourselves, but in what we teach to our community. So how well do you deal with change? And of course, you're going to be in the catbird seat if your capacity to deal with technology, uncertainty, and change is, I'm good with all of them. I can handle them all. And everyone that you go, no, I don't deal so well with that, is going to create an additional burden on you, an additional challenge, something you can be aware of, and something that you're going to have to pay attention to, not allowing you to derail the progress that you are going to make. Okay, reality check. Hard talk from Steve. Let's move into our assets. What have we got going for us? So if we're thinking about what sort of an online business we're going to create, what are my interests and what are my passions? Some of you are going to build a business based on what you've done before or what you know or what opportunity. Others, it's going to be based on something that you want to do. And in some cases, it might be something you want to do and you're not even that concerned whether or not the business is successful. You just want to spend time in this space. What are your interests and what are your passions? In a few moments, you're going to hopefully start documenting all of this and putting it down. And one of the things I want you to document is what are your interests and what are your passions? Those are going to help inform us for deciding ultimately what business we are going to do. Now, once you decide, and as you go down that path, what connections do you have? Write down what your network is, who the customers are that you've had in the past that you could still reach out to. Maybe not necessarily to sell to now, but maybe to use as a trusted advisor in the future, or to bounce ideas off of, or to ask you for introductions, or to be a partner, to partner with you or a supplier of yours as you move along. Who do you know that are your business partners, former business partners, who you can bring into the circle, who you can tap? Of course, your trusted advisors, people who are your fans, who will amplify your message, who can help you out, maybe are in the space that you're deciding to get into that can give you a leg up. I was very fortunate when I started in the social media and the online and content marketing space that I ended up having a few amplifiers, people who liked what I had to say and they were willing to take me on their podcast or ask me to speak at their conference, which helped me get my message out to more people. Who are your amplifiers? And who were your suppliers? All of these people in your network, and I know I'm missing something, some groups, but who do you have in your network? We used to say that our network was our most valuable asset, the people we knew. So that if you're one of those people that says, I have a guy or I have a woman who can help me with this or can do this. I've got people in the technology space. I've got a web guy and I've got ads people and I've got people that I can trust and I can turn to. What's your network look like? And who can you turn to? Document it. Because when the going gets tough, it's easy to forget who's there. And we tend to cocoon. When we start having trouble, when we start maybe spiraling the drain a little bit, instead of looking out for help and looking out to see what's out there, we tend to look inward and just kind of close in on ourselves. And that's just going to accelerate the process. The next big question is, what is your history? Take stock of yourself. Let me take you into another mind map. This is my personal roadmap. This is one of the assignments that I'm going to ask you to do today to start on this. And don't worry that it looks big. And don't worry that it is a mind map and you might not know how to use mind mapping software. Inside of the module, we've got a little tutorial on how to use this mind mapping tool, which we use here. And but you don't have to use it. You can do this longhand. You can write it out. You can use a word processor. You can use any application you want. What's really important is going through the process and the thought process of writing down the data that I'm going to be asking you to do. So what I did is, if we take a look at what we just covered in the last map, is I made a map that starts with this is me. So what are my assets? What's my superpower? What am I? Who is in my network? And I haven't filled it all in, but you can see that we've got a kind of a template for it here. What is my platform? What are my channels? What is my YouTube channel? What is my YouTube reach? What is my Facebook presence? What are my successes? And I wrote down all of my successes. And then I did this. I went through and I did it's almost like a curriculum vitae. I wrote down what I did pretty much by decade, the jobs that I did, the successes that I had, what I learned, what I was doing in those decades. I started out when I graduated high school. I worked as a stagehand at CBC and as an office boy at an engineering firm. And then I went into the printing business and I actually repaired printing presses for quite a while and also ran a printing press. But I also did scoreboard operations. I also did all the computer operations at BC Place, the Pacific Coliseum, and Nat Bailey Stadium. And I sold desktop publishing software. And then I got into acting for a while and I spent time at Second City. Long story, not a happy story. But then in the 90s, I went into consulting and I worked actually, I didn't do that first. First of all, I went into distribution and I worked for a distributor. And then I went into the consulting business. And at the end of the 90s, I started my TV career. And you can see that I've got all of these different things that I've done and these different successes that I've had and this different experience that I've had. And the reason that we're doing this, folks, is It's a good walk down memory lane to help you remember how amazing you are. We've all got this great journey that we've taken, these experiences we've had, and we tend to minimize them or we tend to forget about them if they aren't in front of us. But if going through this exercise of putting this down and putting it in front of you is, I think, one of the, it's done a lot for me to help me with the confidence that I can do the challenges, that I can overcome the challenges that are ahead of me. But not only does it do that, it also, by writing it down, might get your mind thinking, oh, I really doing that. And I know a lot about that. And I haven't revisited that for a while. So this is just an exercise that might spark your imagination. And later on, we'll return to this as well, because one of the things that I love to do with this particular roadmap and kind of a vision chart, is it a vision chart? I don't know, is for you to take a look at it a couple of weeks after you've written it out and look at it with fresh eyes. And then try and imagine looking at it as though it's somebody else. And you just recognize what you have to bring to the table. And it's profound. You've got a clean slate if you're starting an online business. And you get to determine what that slate looks like. So you get to decide how active you want to be in the business. Is this going to be a side hustle, or is this going to be something that's full time? Do you feel like building a personal brand? Do you feel like putting yourself in the middle of the business? Or do you feel like building something which you are at arm's length? People don't necessarily know it's yours when they take a look at it. How large a team do you want to have? Do you want to have subcontractors and consultants, or do you want employees? Or is this a DIY project? Make sure, as you keep it in the back of your mind, that you get to build an enterprise that works for you, because this is the time that you can do it. You can make all of those decisions now. In our last lesson, we talked about there's only 3 types of business. And so I'm going to just ask you quickly right now, did any of those resonate with you? Product, knowledge, service, have you already gotten that in your mind that you want to be in the knowledge business? You want to be in the service business? You want to be in the product business? Does one resonate with you? Just wondering if that's the case now. All right. Next step is for us to start to document the opportunity. You don't do it in a vacuum. That's to be certain. All of your biases in history is going to color your opinion of what the opportunity is. But start making a list of things that you see are areas that you think there's great opportunity to do business in. There's a place that you can make a difference, places that you want to make a difference. Now, first of all, do not concern yourself if it is something that there's a lot of people doing already. The online world of business is so large, is so vast, that there's room for everybody. And even if there's 300 people in the space that you want to go into, there's a reason there's 300 people in that space. It means it's a good space. So write down where you think opportunity lies. And let's start documenting that. And when you start going through that roadmap, put down opportunity, start writing it down. And then we're going to take that and we're going to marry it to this. We're going to create a Venn diagram with all of the opportunities that you see that are out there, the highlights of your experience, and your passions and interest. We're going to document all of those and then put it down on a Venn diagram, and let's see if there's some common ground, if there's some stuff that kind of just automatically coalesces as a result of this. This is a process that you can go through, and you can do this multiple times. You can do this over and over again. And the more detail and the more walk down memory lane that we do, as far as recognizing what our experiences are and tapping into the opportunities and what our passions and interests are, the more, the greater the number of choices we're going to have, and the better the opportunity is that we're actually going to find something that's going to land and stick with us. So that's the process that we're going to be going through. And after when we're done today, I'm going to ask you to really start documenting all of this. The last pieces that I'm going to talk about as far as starting the right business is, again, a little bit of introspection. And the first is, what is your type? Now, this is a really useful exercise. And this will help you as you architect the process of putting down the opportunity, experience, and passions. I think there's 3 types of entrepreneur. There's the pragmatist, the passionpreneur, and the traditionalist. And I'm going to ask you in chat to say which one you think you are after I've gone through all of these. The pragmatist is the person who wants to deliver whatever is going to make them the most money. Whatever is going to deliver the best return on effort with income. So they don't care if they might not care what bucket they're in. They might not care if they're in the product bucket, in the service bucket, or in the knowledge bucket. They would say, I want to find a hot market that I can perform well in, that I'm going to have lots of success, and I'm going to make lots of impact. And usually for the pragmatist, the win is going to be making lots of money. Are you a pragmatist? Are you just looking for the best opportunity out there and you want to make bank? That's the pragmatist. Then there's the passionpreneur. That would be me. Passion-driven entrepreneur. I think I stole this term from Marie Forleo to put it, to be completely upfront about it. I'm not positive though. But the term really works. The passionpreneur is willing to sacrifice income for impact. We want to make a difference in our community. I want to make a difference with our generations, with boomers and Gen X. I want to help you live the best third act that we can. And for many of us, that means that we need to have some sort of relevance in the workplace, either making money or having an impact. That's my passion. Now, I'm not willing to give up money completely. I am not a monk and I'm not willing to donate everything, but it's a balance between the success of the community and personal success, business success, income coming into my business. And I work hard to make sure that we generate good income. So you're not, you still want to be successful business-wise, but it's balanced. It's tempered by the willingness to sacrifice some of that income for the impact which it's going to have on the community. Then there's the traditionalist. These are all good, by the way. If you can identify and you can recognize it in yourself, this is a good thing. And it helps you to decide on the products and services that you are best situated to deliver. The traditionalists are those that are doing what you've always done. It's taking something that you did for somebody else for all of those years and doing it for yourself. So there's nothing wrong with a good sequel. So if you were an accountant, corporate accountant, hang your own shingle. Be a consultant or bring on clients. Because of the pain of that industry, of that business, you know how you can help. And you can identify unique aspects and find unique ways to approach the challenges. You get to do the things right that you've always seen others doing wrong. Because most of us have, when we think about the ways that, especially if we were in a corporate environment, we always knew there was a better way to do a lot of things, but we didn't have the opportunity because they had rules. So the traditionalist basically follows up on their strengths, follows up on their experience, and does what they've always done, but does it for themselves now, which is unique and often is completely refreshing. It's you can really reinvigorate yourself in your chosen profession when you become a traditionalist, as far as the type of entrepreneur you have. So tell us in chat now, are you pragmatist, passionpreneur, or traditionalist? And some of you might have a little bit of crossover, but I think that you all fall into one of these categories. So philosophically, a successful business a right business needs to start for the right reasons. And in doing so, it needs to, first of all, align with your values. You have to be comfortable in the space that you're going to be working in. And it needs to align with your lifestyle. This is the one time in our life where we can choose how we're going to establish work-life balance as we're building out our business. We can set the rules here. That's amazing. Because you get to make the choices now. You are driving the bus. So stay true to your values and pay attention. Always err as you make the decision on work-life balance to the side of life in the work-life balance. early on in the honeymoon period of our business, we are willing to really put our nose to the grindstone and make a tremendous effort and really be gung-ho. But ultimately, you're going to burn out. And if you stay at that full throttle type mentality. So building in your mindset or building in the systems that you put in place, a little more grace for the personal time, family time, is the side to err on. So that brings us to the wrap. Let's wrap things up with our assignment. What are we going to do? What would I like you to do? Now, I don't give you a lot of assignments in the bootcamp, but this is the beginning. I believe that creating this document, this roadmap, is something that's going to serve you well for the rest of the bootcamp. So either in a mind map or in a word processing document or on a big piece of paper, I'd like you to go through this mind map and fill in information that you answer the questions that I've asked you in the challenge that I put. Put down whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. Write down what your interests are. Document them. Your passions. Start that list of your customers and partners, the people who are in your network, so you can see it tangibly in front of you. Put down these things down into the document the way that I did in my mind map. And while you're at it, fill me in on one little question I have, which is, what is your superpower? We're all really good at something. My superpower is communication. I believe I make difficult concepts easy to understand. I think that's what I'm best at. That's my superpower. What's my kryptonite? Detail. I'm terrible at finishing things off. I'm great at starting, poor at finishing. That's my kryptonite. I'm being honest. Be honest with yourself. Put it down and share your superpower and your kryptonite with us in the Facebook group. I love seeing what people's superpowers are in the Facebook group. But start this process of documenting all of the things that I asked you to document here, which is the opportunity, experience, passions, and interest. Use this mind map as a template to make sure that you cover off all of the different points and to remind you of what each one means. And from that, we can start to put together perhaps a Venn diagram that's going to lead you to the business, those of you who don't know what business you should be doing or product or service you should be doing. Those of you who have a good idea, this should validate that decision and maybe give you a little bit more guidance and structure in the type of business that you're going to be putting in place and what rules you're going to put in place for that business. If you already have a business in place, you know what it means to you and you know how it is your baby. If you haven't yet started your business and you're just on the verge, this is birthing a new child or getting a new puppy. This is the beginning of a really exciting new venture. Maybe I shouldn't have said it's like birthing a child. I have no idea. But I have got kids and I know what responsibility, I know how much pride and how much challenge there was in raising the kids. I feel very strongly about my business. It's right up there in the next tier beneath my family, my friends. My business is very near and dear to me, and I'm proud of it. And it's been a great companion for me. Starting your business, this is not a small deal. This is a big deal. This is a relationship which is going to define much of the next 20 years of your life. So start it off, and by starting it off, be clear-eyed about it. Answer the questions. Think about the topics that I talked about. Think about the issues that I talked about today. And that's going to help you start off on the right foot. And if you're already in the path, it's going to help keep you on the straight and narrow, I hope. All right, let's get to the Q&A. So you see why I love that lesson so much. The chat just fires me up as everybody, first of all, as you folks share your experiences and share your insights. And I will say one thing. When I asked you about passionpreneur, traditionalist, or a passionpreneur, traditionalist, or what's the other one? Traditionalist, passionpreneur, pragmatist. Especially for the pragmatists out there. And there's always less pragmatists than everything else. But for you folks, it really defines a path. It really defines a path because you can just, the type of research you do and how you look at the online business can be so clinical. And so whereas everybody else, we need fulfillment in all these different areas. But I'm jealous of the pragmatist. I wish I was a pragmatist when it came to business. I think I would have made a lot more money. I know I would have made a lot more money in my life, but I'm making the difference in people's lives is pretty darn good as well. Right, April?
Yes, for sure.
So let's get to, there's a lot of questions about resources, etc. In the first lesson, there are very few resources, but you'll always find the resources underneath the video inside of Thinkific, where we have the replay modules. The resources are always there. The replay from the live session will also be there, along with the chat that we can deliver to you, so you can see the chat as well, so you can go through it if there's anything mentioned that you want to make note of. And as far as the mind maps that I create for these lessons goes, I share with you an image of the mind map inside of the module, but there'll also be a link there where you can actually go into a browser and see the mind map and be able to zoom in and out on the mind map itself. In our next lesson, actually, the mind map becomes even more dynamic because I add a lot of resources that are clickable inside of the mind map. So you've got a lot of different ways to consume the resources that we put in place here.
So there's also been a lot of questions about Thinkific that are not.
Yes.
So, friends, I just dropped if you have not signed up for the bootcamp officially, you're going to want to go to the link that I just dropped. Sign up. What's going to happen is it's going to ask you to create an account, which is our membership portal called Thinkific. So when we refer to Thinkific, that's where all the replays and the resources, it's our membership site. If you, for some reason, forget how to get back there, go to dototech.com and you'll see it. There's a drop down that says members login, and you can log in from there. You can always reset your password. Just remember what email address that you used. And second, I dropped the wrong link earlier. I dropped a link to our Gray Wave membership Facebook page. I redropped the one for the boot camp, and I'll drop it again. You're welcome to join our Facebook group in the boot camp as well. So sorry about that.
And some of you, if you've taken a boot camp before with us, or you've signed up for other projects, other courses with us, you might already have a Thinkific account. So you might, but it might be under a different email address. So you might have double registered. That's one of the things that causes us kind of a little irritation from time to time. Not that we're irritated with you, it just causes some confusion. And so think back, if you already have a Thinkific account, you might find your resources, or you might find access there. It's just something to consider if you are getting a little bit confused about getting into the account. Okay, let's get to the questions.
Yep. You already answered that one. You answered about the one. Okay, so Andy's asking, is it a good idea to explicitly name customers, partners, advisors, amplifiers? How do you approach people in these roles and ask them to help?
So the concept that we're doing right now, Andy, is we're putting together a resource package of resources that you have available to you to give you ideas of things that of places you can do. I'm not suggesting this is the point where you actually reach out to those people in order to embark in some sort of venture with them. But if you don't know what it is you want to do in your business yet, and you're trying to find your place, understanding what resources you have, understanding what context you have, can help color. It can help you. It could spark the imagination and say, "Oh, I'd forgotten that I have, that guy that I've played golf with for my whole life and is a really good friend is a distributor in this space, and that might be a really good fit." So it gets you thinking along that line, listing out the resources. And I don't know about you, but at my age, if I've written it down, I forget a lot of things right now. So when I write it down, I often go, "Oh, that's wonderful." When I write down, when I did that mind map of my history, I did that a couple of years ago for the first time we did this project. I started on that, and even now when I open it up, I go, "Oh yeah, I forgot I did that. That's really cool. That's a neat skill I have that I'd forgotten that I have." So it's healthy to write all these things down.
There's probably like 4 questions and comments about navigating to the resources. Friends, I'm going to drop the Facebook link again. If you go to the Facebook group, I'll actually put a video up at the top on how to navigate that to show you how to get to the resources and navigate Thinkific. I know it can be new to a lot of you, so I'm happy to do that. Let's see. Nope. If I fall into knowledge and service, is there anything I should be aware of specifically?
Not that I can think of. I mean, it would depend on the nature of the specifics of what it is you do, but they're terrific. As you follow through our different course materials, always just keeping in mind that you're going to be, if you're in service, that you're going to be working directly with people as opposed to creating a product that you deliver to them.
All right. Mary's asking, how do I focus on one idea?
Discipline. That's one of the, depending on the type of personality you have, a lot of us are a bit magpie, and developing the discipline to focus as we start down the path can derail a lot of people if you don't eventually develop that discipline. So the things that we're asking you to do right now, Mary, of identifying the bucket that you're in, of identifying the type of entrepreneur you are, of identifying the people and the services that you have, that gives you a roster of ideas and directions that you can go. And it's okay to flesh them out, kind of a lot of them as you go along, or several different ideas. But at some point, you have to pick one horse to ride in this race. You have to decide one direction you're going to go. Now, if you don't have the discipline to, if you start, one kind of business and then jump ship to another type of business, you're going to defeat yourself. So at some point in this process, something has to click. Then you have to say, that's what I want to do. And that's up to you.
All right. Ron's saying, I'm personally strong on the content aspect, but weak on sales and marketing. Do you have advice on partnering with someone opposite to me?
If you're strong on content, Ron, the sales and marketing is something that you can learn to do quite well. If you can create good content, you can create good marketing content. If you can create, I've never considered myself to be super strong in marketing, but I've always been good in creation of tutorial type content. And then I've just slowly morphed that into marketing, into following the rules for marketing and the techniques for doing marketing. That's one of the things we teach. We teach you how to do that. So I wouldn't actually say that you need to partner. I think that what you need to do is you need to be a little bit flexible and recognize where your strengths are, and then pay attention to the lessons that we teach, and start telling the stories in these other ways. It's still storytelling. Sales is still storytelling. Marketing is still storytelling, along with all other types of content. So I think you'll surprise yourself. And once you start doing it, it gets pretty exciting going down that path, because it becomes very gamified. When you start doing marketing with the online world, the tools that we use, we get to measure everything that we do and see exactly how well it performs. And that can be really invigorating.
All righty. Let's see. Roberto's asking, is there a resource or tools to help me focus on what side hustle to work on or would like to do? I worked in the same industry for 48 years before retiring. Although I have a lot of experience, I certainly would not want to go back to doing the same thing.
So Roberto, the process that we're asking you to go through right now with the writing down your experience, but it's not just your experiences and what you know and the people you know, but it's also writing down what you want to make a difference in. It's also writing down where you see opportunity, and finding the common ground in that is the exercise that we're going on. So the resource and tools is exactly what we're talking about in this lesson. Doing the exercises that we're talking about are the resources that you need to do. You're in a great place where you've got all of this experience, and you're also in a wonderful place that you know what you don't want to do. That's the second best thing to knowing what you want to do. So you're able to quickly cross some things off and be able to start to focus on the things that are going to work for you. It's a process, and it will take some time.
Sharon's asking, what are good ways to include volunteer experience in the mind map? Some great projects are hard to imagine in a business concept.
I just write them down, Sharon. Write down. I did, the types of things you had to do. Volunteer is doing volunteer work is no different than working. You still had successes. You still had things you struggled with. You still have things that you enjoy doing and you feel really empowered and good at. And there are areas that you feel weak at and that you don't like to do. So marking those things down, it's the same.
Chuck's asking, do you cover personality types in your mind map?
Well, I would definitely, well, do you have to write it down? No, but in the process that we've just gone through, you're thinking about it and you're identifying and classifying yourself. That's what I want you to do. But write it down if it helps.
Brent's asking, I'm not entirely sure what I want to do, but I have an idea. One thing I was trying to identify with potential clients, what is their pain points? Although I'm retired, for those working, they are busy. And if I can provide a service that make their lives easier, I believe there will be interest in a business opportunity.
Brent, you're philosophically, I believe you're exactly on the right track. What we teach regularly to identify pain. If you can take pain away, if you can solve problems, you have a business. And we've got a technique that we'll be teaching you. You're going to look forward to lessons. Well, the next lesson we start talking about it, but we do something called They Ask You Answer, which is a book by Marcus Sheridan, which is a philosophy that I have for finding my marketplace and for building the content that we need in order to be successful. And that system that we use is tailor-made for this exact process that you're going through. Find the challenges they have. You have credibility in the space. If you can solve their problems, you have a business.
Frank is asking, what do you think about computer repair in 2024?
I think it really depends on what the marketplace is that you're looking to do computer repair for. I think that there's a lot of places, education, for example, where it's still very, very much needed. The cutting edge computer stuff, they don't want you to repair much anymore. Companies like Apple are building very closed down systems that just aren't user addressable. But there's still a thriving market in modifying and building, especially for gaming computers. So there's still a place for it. It's you just have to figure out how it fits for you and and again, solving people's problems. If people are having problems in that space, you can solve them.
Is there a pre-populated mind map with general topics that Steve has shown for us to work from?
Well, I'll be sharing the mind map that I showed in the session. I share that one with you, Cynthia, and I see you're on YouTube. So make sure that you've signed up, that you sign up for the actual boot camp so you can get access to all of the resources.
You mentioned delegating. Should we consider that delegating is a vital requirement of a successful online business due to many facets of the online business?
No. It's a great have if you can delegate, and the inability to delegate limits our potential for growth. But I think we have a fairly successful business here at Dottotech. And let's ask April. April, am I a good delegator?
I'm going to say I have no comment on anything to that of the effect. I have no comment.
The truth is, no, I'm a terrible delegator. And if I was better, we would have a lot more growth. So it is something that is a work in progress for many of us. So if you can't delegate, recognizing that you can, and then not, and then either coming up with a strategy to get past that or just accepting your limitations.
People are asking, which I think we did previously, if you could post the resources ahead of time so they could follow the mind map on their own.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to do that. I've thought about that in the past. Let me give it some thought.
Okay. What do you think about using a quiz to find your ideal client with the perfect pain you can solve?
Great idea. If you can create that sort of content, that is gold. If you can get people to fill it in.
It looks like that is it.
Good.
Lisa's asking, is it possible to have a part-time biz? Just dealing with online sites is a lot.
Of course. We call it a side hustle. But a lot of the businesses will start out part-time. And a lot of our community members still have a full-time job. And many of you here still have a full-time job. And you start out at whatever capacity works for you. But the concept of a side hustle is a tried and true way of building an online business or putting your foot in the water and then having that there for you when you're ready and when you need more.
Frank is saying for hardware repair and education, can you share more insight on what to look for?
Well, I would reach out to the school district in your area or the schools and say, do you guys have needs of any repair service? You could also check with the local computer shops to see if they have need for repair. Unfortunately, computer repair itself, I think, you have to find a niche where they're wanting to repurpose older gear. There used to be a program here in Canada called Computers for Schools, I think, where companies donated computers and then they would be refurbished by volunteers in that particular case. And then they would be distributed to schools. And I think they had varying degrees of success. I would look for that sort of thing in your local area. Maybe the idea is to open a small online computer shop. Things like Facebook Marketplace allows you to set up a storefront in your local area far more easily without actually needing a physical location. So if you have got a nice shop where you can do the work, you might build and grow that way, and then you use the social network like Facebook to find your customers.
I think that is it. David said, have I mentioned how much I appreciate this course? My brain is crackling.
David, that's music to my ears. I know how excited I was when I started down the path of recognizing the opportunities that we had with building our own online business, and just the excitement and the freedom that it gave me, and the potential security that it delivers. There's a lot to this. And we'll try and deliver over the next couple of weeks as much value as we can to you. But I'm glad that your brain's crackling. Don't overdo it. Take a deep breath.
Yep, that's it. That is it.
Excellent.
All right, friends, I'm going to drop the link for if you have not signed up for the boot camp and you're just tuning in live today. If you want access to the resources and the replay, you can join us in the official boot camp.
Yeah, that's especially for the people that are watching us streaming live on YouTube. Is you can watch us on YouTube on the channel, but you won't have to have signed up. If you're here inside of StreamYard in our chat here, you've signed up on YouTube, so you've signed up for the course already, so you should have access.
Peggy, there is, once you sign up for the boot camp, you'll get a welcome email that lists out all of the sessions. They're Tuesdays and Thursdays through May 16th, and they are at the same time. So 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In the Facebook group, I post, like on Monday, I'll post next week's sessions with the StreamYard link for the week. And then there's also an hour reminder that comes out before.
Yeah, you get an email reminder an hour before. Exactly. We had one other question I saw here asking about going forward with the boot camp. Will we be refining our online business ideas from where we start with the original mind map? Absolutely. You as we do each lesson, I would say that you can many people return to their mind map, add notes to it, and use it kind of as a living document. So yeah, you could. Now the goal and the structure of the boot camp is not step by step actually building the pieces of your business, but it's visiting each area of your business and shedding some light on it so you can understand it, and then determining how it fits in for your particular needs. So to recognize that we aren't a step-by-step process, but instead we're looking holistically at what an online business contains and teaching you as much as we can in each of the kind of areas of an online business. So next lesson next is a long lesson. The video is broken into two parts. We deal with process and we deal with platform. So we're going to be speaking specifically about how you get known online. It's all about the beginning of the process of discovery, and your platform is how people get to know you. So we'll be dealing specifically with that. And your process, the tools that you use, support the message that you put out. So we'll be looking at the different tools that we use and how we put some processes in place so you can understand what you have to do as far as the back end of your business as you start building out your business. So that's going to be on Tuesday. It's a good beefy lesson. So have your thinking caps on. It's some ginkgo biloba over the weekend to make sure that all of the synapses are firing would be a good idea. April, thank you.
Thank you.
We can wrap up.
We can wrap up. Yep.
Bob, in the support in the green room, thank you very much for supporting us and answering all the technical questions. To each and every one of you, thank you so much. And again, when you engage like you do, we all get so much more value out of this. And all of the engagement that I saw happening here today, just it's exactly what we want. To me, this is a sign of success and a sign that we're moving in the right direction. So I look forward to the next step. Enjoy your weekend. April, you enjoy your weekend. Bob, you enjoy your weekend. And one and all. Till next time, have fun storming the castle.
Bye, guys.